We're post-election.
We are.
Post-election, and Trump has been voted back into office for a second term. And
Horribly
thoughts and ideas.
awesome.
In a not the I guess the word I kept seeing repeatedly is landslide victory.
Red wave.
And so thoughts and ideas and feelings moving forward, especially if y'all tuned in to our last "You Better Vote or Else John's Going to Go to Your House" episode. Thoughts? What do you think?
I think it's great. I think electing him, we get Trump, we get Vance, we get RFK Jr., we get Tulsi Gabbard, we get Elon Musk, we get Vivek Ramaswamy, if I'm saying that right. I always mess it up.
Sounds good to me.
But I mean, it's like you get 6 presidential candidates in one.
That's crazy.
Just with the vote for him, I think it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next 4 years. Lessons learned in the first 4 years, like self-admitted lessons learned. Like he's very open about, not knowing anything about D.C. and politics in those first 4 years, and the mistakes that he made, the people that were coming to him, telling him to do this, put this person here, and he's learned from those lessons, and I think we're off to a good start. I mean, just with the people that he's surrounding himself, like him or not, like he's surrounding himself with the right people, and I think that that's key.
Now look at that map, and I know we'll have the Podfather
I'll throw
put
it
that
there
up
for
for you guys.
Podfather, I love that. That's
But
awesome.
I mean, that just kind of blows my mind, especially with all of the. It's like all of the talk that you hear, and then you kind of get a picture like this, and even California, that the state ends up going.
Yeah.
For
It goes blue because of the coastline there.
Kamala, or Kamala, depending on where you're from.
You can definitely tell that for a long time, people in certain parts of the country were making decisions for everybody else.
Yeah, and it's these like super mega cities. It seems like that just kind of. I mean, there's a lot of people in them, but they swing an area.
Well, what did Elon Musk said? He said he looked at that
Buy a
map and it
Tesla.
looked like red light therapy. He said, which is good for your health. There it is. They say red light therapy helps you sleep better. That's what it was.
There you go.
Yeah, good on the conscience.
No, it's crazy. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, I'm just soaking it all in, and quite honestly, I'm glad that all the advertisings and all of the rhetoric and all that stuff is over with. So just
For now.
get back to yeah, get back to regular life again. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm definitely glad the vote is over. What did you guys stay up and like watch the whole thing kind of thing? You wanted to
I
be
did
surprised
not.
in the
No.
morning like Christmas?
You had a feeling.
Here,
I was still
honestly,
Yeah.
After church, I was still up.
well, the way that I look at it is honestly, I mean, and pastors talked about it, where
That was good, by the way.
we should be putting our faith and our belief is not in who's going to get elected, but what God's plans are. And if your faith truly lies in that, like I don't, no matter what happens, no matter what, who gets elected, like we have to be kingdom minded, and we have to know that it's in His plan, whether it's something that we agree with or not.
Yes.
So I just wasn't going to stress myself out and staying up. Like I've done it before, with
what's it gonna
elections, and it changes absolutely nothing. So I went to bed. Me and the wife went to bed and woke up the next morning and checked it and was like, all right, And I mean, these last 4 years, I mean, if you think of it as God's plan, maybe that's what we needed. Maybe that's what we needed as a nation, to kind of wake up and kind of see the direction that we were going. And I mean, clearly people were fed up with it, and they wanted change. But I mean, if you look in the Bible, I mean, how many times did he, put the Israelites through some pretty hard times because of the way that they were disobedient? But he always kept his hand on them.
I think that's the key, because I think God's plan doesn't have harm built into it. It doesn't have any of those things, but it's our choices that have consequences and outcomes. And so while it may be God's plan for, hey, he wants this candidate or whatever. I mean, I think it's kind of trivial, but because he really wants us pointed at him, kind of like the main purpose, right? But he's like, this person would be more beneficial in office, and then the people don't do what they're supposed to, right? Because God's promise for the Israelites was a promised land that was 11 days away. 11 days away. They made it. They looked at it. They came back and said, it is everything that God said it was going to be, and we can't take it except for 2 guys. And so it's like the promise was there. Everything was true. Everything was there, and their choice and their decision put them in a place where it wasn't achieved until everybody lined back up with the promise. Everybody made those decisions of the Caleb and Joshua's of that's my mountain. This is our promise. We can take this thing, and moved into kind of a promise. And so I really do. I think there's opportunity in all of those things, that we hear what God is saying to do, or you get this great prophetic word, or you read something, or you feel something in your heart, like, I really feel like God is telling me this or that. And but if you don't do anything, you know what I mean? If you don't study, like, man, I feel like God's telling you you're going to be a great doctor, when you're 14, 15 years old. You don't go to medical school. You drop out of college, blah, blah, blah. I mean,
God, do your part.
But exactly. And I think, it ties into faith without works. It's like, I believe everything that God says is for me is true. Now, what's my part in it?
Right.
What do I need to do to stay in line with what he has for me? So
I love how John just said it too, though. Our pastors said, especially even on that night, and we were fortunate too, because at Tuesday night prayer when we were all there, and it happened to be a night of baptisms as well. So we celebrated quite a bit. 43. Come
43
on,
baptisms. That's
but
amazing.
I love how our lead pastor got up and just said, just church, don't put your faith in a person.
Right.
I love how you just said it too, man.
Yeah, no,
But
absolutely.
just know that he has us, and the ones who are faithful, knowing that, look, his plan will prevail, because he's going to appoint whomever it is and use them for, his purpose. I mean, I love that.
Whatever that purpose is.
Multiple purposes.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, because
That's
the argument then is, well, what about the last 4 years? I mean, what was...
What is a wake-up call? What is a realization?
No,
what is a...
I agree. I'm just like, I've heard in different circles and different this and that, well, God wanted Trump to win. Well, what? Then why didn't he? So was it his plan, or did God want Trump to win and the people didn't do what they needed to do? Or it's like, if he can turn all things for good, then that means what? Some things must be bad, right? Because you're not. So it's kind of like that
Yeah.
I kind of try and look at that big picture going, okay, there's a plan, there's a purpose, there's a divine A to B that he has laid out.
Yeah.
And it's like, putting a destination in our GPS. Well, if I don't turn when I'm supposed to, then God has to reroute me. Sometimes through rough neighborhoods, sometimes through gravel roads that are bumpy, get your car dirty.
Sometimes a U-turn.
Sometimes turn all the way around and go back because there's no other way to get to that line except to backtrack. And I always find that idea interesting. And I do, like I said, I do believe God has a plan and purpose for every individual, every person, every event. It's like it talks about leadership and appointed leadership in the Bible and authority and all those things. And okay, exactly. So to me, it's like we still have to do our part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We are hands and feet and mouthpieces and mirrors and reflectors of of him.
You got to have follow through no matter what. I mean, you can be given direction, you can be given order, you can be given whatever it is to accomplish the task, but if you don't act on that, it's never going to get done.
Yeah, exactly.
So there has to be follow through. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think the next 4 years have a lot of potential, which could lead into the next 4 years, having equal or more potential. So it's interesting. It was interesting to see like where those changes were made, the demographics that those changes were made in. It's like a lot of people are actually waking up and starting to understand that, maybe the government as it was not looking out for our best interest, and that more so looking out for themselves, I would say. And the scary thing is I mean, at the end of the day, it takes an outsider to come in to disrupt, what's going on, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Republican Party is perfect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Democrats are perfect, because they're not. They're both equally corrupt. They both equally look out for their vested interests. And
party first.
Yeah, and if you listen to some of the discussions, and I think that's, that kind of rolls into the next topic, which is the only true way to kind of get a real grasp of who is running for president and vice president and who he is surrounding himself with is in these long form conversations that they're having on podcasts now. It's not these scripted, these are your questions. We're going to fact check you, but not fact check the other person. We're going to cut your mic off if you talk too long. This is a one-on-one conversation for
killing bugs.
For however long it takes. And, watching shows like the Sean Ryan Show, the Joe Rogan Show, Tucker Carlson, where some of the candidates came on, and some of them were offered to come on, but from what I've heard, set stipulations that were just like, no, this is long form conversation. Yeah. The purpose of it is not to give it a time limit and not to limit what can be asked, but to make it an open forum, open conversation, like have your opportunity, because anybody can sit there for 45 minutes and put on the show, fake who they are, stick with the script.
Do it every week.
But when you sit on there and you talk for 1.5, 2.5, 3 hours, it's hard to put up, that fake facade of who you are and what you stand for. And that's kind of crushing, the legacy media that's out there.
I'm here for it.
And making them pretty much non-existent anymore. And it's going over towards these long form conversation podcasts.
There goes our CNN sponsorship.
We were so
We
close.
almost had it.
Yeah, I got an email. It was out of
I just got one from Nancy
Nigeria.
Pelosi, a text message from Nancy Pelosi pleading. No, I deleted that thing. Report as junk and delete. Like, no, you can corrupt my phone with that. Like,
Has a
I'm not
virus.
messing around.
Yeah,
So, yeah, exactly. That definitely is a virus.
in more ways than one.
But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. You know, the people that
Yeah.
he's putting in place to do certain things, like RFK Jr. Coming in and taking a deep, hard look at the FDA, what they're regulating, Big Pharma, how Big Pharma's handling things.
I hope they look at the ATF too.
The ATF, yeah. How about the IRS?
Or them. Wow.
Let's take a look at the IRS.
If they look at the IRS real good, I won't have such a problem with the ATF. I'll be able to buy the things I want
I've
to.
always said if the government has an entity that is specializing in something, you need to invest in whatever that is that they're specializing in. And alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Like, if we do hit the apocalypse, end times,
for sure.
Mad Max, scenarios, like you're bartering. Your bartering is going to be alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
I'll probably still have some from my motorcycle days.
Oh man,
You're what?
Leather and
Lord,
chains.
I'm
Mad
sorry
Max.
to
You
hear
brought up
about
Mad
that.
Max. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leather and change. That's what gets his attention. Now
I
he's,
didn't hear
now
any
he's
of the other
turned
stuff.
on.
Any of the other stuff you were saying. Leather's uncomfortable at some point. It's great on a bike.
Here we
though.
go.
Anyway, I was thinking of something earlier too, where you, I think Kirk, you had mentioned, not leaning on a person.
Yeah.
That Pastor was talking about. It's kingdom minded. It's
Yes.
Jesus first, and a lot of times we look to a person, whether it's
Right.
election official or whoever. I mean, you can kind of fill in the blank all the way down to
Yeah.
very locally to kind of be that savior
Right.
type stand-in. It's like, oh, if this person gets elected, oh, if
Then everything's
yeah,
gonna be all
if
right.
this person is my boss, if this is,
Right.
you know what I mean? And it's like you create that mentality of putting people in these little lowercase s savior type
Right.
things. And I've talked on several episodes and stuff about, just going through like job search and tough financial stuff and all of these kind of things. And I felt like that was the biggest lesson that God was bringing out is, am I your source in all things?
Wow.
Or are you looking for a job to save you, a raise to save you, a relationship to save you, a, fill in the blank, because
Yeah.
you can put, man, if I just got that raise, man, if I just got that promotion, man, if I just worked here, man, if we just elect this person, man, if the House is this, man, if the Senate's that. And it's like we paint this picture of everything being like cherry because a thing happened,
Right.
instead of still the focus being, God, you're the only one that can truly save me from anything,
Right.
from myself all the way to the government.
Start with myself, because
exactly.
I'm the most broken one, and that's how I'm looking at it too.
For sure.
You know?
And just that perspective of God's desire to be your source
Yes.
in every area. And it really made me think watching, I'm watching the election. I actually stayed up till like 1:30. It was like sports gambling. I was betting on counties, which was good. Not really gambling. Anyway, I just threw myself away for a loop.
Lack of sleep.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
There you go.
I stayed up watching it because I was interested really in
Right.
in who was kind of voting where, and some of the talk and demographics and different things that they were putting out. And one of the things that I felt like kept coming up was, now President Trump was saying, he stands for this and he stands for that and he stands for this and he stands for that. And then the question being, what has she said that she stands for? And it was like, oh, well, she was wishy-washy on this. Oh, well, she didn't make a stance on this. Oh, well, it was kind of like, I think even one of the commentators gave like this kind of flag in the wind kind of analogy of just wherever it feels good kind of blowing and going.
Politics.
And no stance on anything unless it looked profitable, right? And so I was like, that was kind of the really intriguing. And if you tuned in to several of our episodes about voting and politics, I've pretty much hit my peak.
Right on time.
Yep, I have pretty much. The last thing I was thinking too is, okay, now that quote we won, how do we respond?
Yeah, that's a
With
good question.
love.
It's good.
Because I think the thing I hate more than a sore loser is a sore winner.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
That's a good point.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And there will be those that stand on top of their soapbox
With arrogance.
spouting what they believe to be Christian values, and it's hate-filled and
It's divisive.
yeah, there's no love in it whatsoever.
That's a really good point, though. We're going from one extreme, and then you're talking about the other, the other side of it. And I like that too, because there's times when we're really not even aware. We may even do it at times,
No, for
and
sure.
that's a good gut check. Like, don't be a sore winner. Don't be an arrogant ass, because nobody wants to see that crap.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think it only reinforces the idea of selfish, self-centered
Pride.
pride.
Yeah.
All of those things. I told you, it's like, come on, dude, give me a break.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity.
Let's go to work now.
To bridge a gap.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to be a comfort. You have an opportunity to really show your true colors. If truth and love are supposed to go together, well, you got to have love to make it happen. Just truth is a tough pill to swallow from anybody.
It is.
Yeah.
But if you know that
Right.
they honestly, truly love you, then you can hear some hard truth.
Yeah.
From brothers,
Oh,
from
yeah.
spouses, from whoever.
Absolutely.
Your posture changes to
Absolutely.
to be able to hear that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if that's you tuned in to us, and you've painted your house red, white, and blue, and you're standing on your front lawn acting an idiot, stop.
Stop acting a fool.
Stop it.
And on the flip side, if you lost,
Yeah, I mean, it's
don't throw a hissy fit. Don't try and attack. Don't tell people that they look like they're on the spectrum and fly a stupid flag.
Yeah. Thanks for that. We do appreciate
We-
all the comments, though.
Yeah,
Keep the
we had
conversation
several comments on one of our shorts, and we want to dive into some of those because we had a laugh.
That's
About
comical.
several.
Absolutely.
We had a laugh about several.
But it was interesting how the vast majority of like the initial comments on that were talking about, division and how, the Republican Party has caused all this division. But as they're saying that, everything that they're adding into that comment is so unbelievably divisive that they don't even realize it, So it's the pot calling the kettle black.
The log in your eye.
You can't. Yeah,
Trying to remove the.
it's
the stick in your
can't
eye.
see the forest for the
Yeah.
trees. It
'Cause
just
there's
boggles
bears
my
pooping.
mind. Yeah, well, that was weird, but
282 comments.
Can you play the clip where we can kind of go to the clip and then we can kind of look at the comments that come through?
no, we're not better off than we were 4 years ago. We're not. And to deny that, people are going to look at us and be like, well, that's because of who you are and what you do. You could judge us in any manner, but just realistically, in the way
The country as a whole is not better off.
no, the division's grown deeper. It's significant, and
Measurable.
Yeah, so that clip generated, what was it, 280?
A bunch.
Yeah, comments.
280 comments, which we absolutely appreciate every single one of them, even the knucklehead ones. Of course, we watched them wind down as the election.
Well, and like a lot of them came down and they were trying to point out, like they literally went to 4 years ago and said that was COVID. We're better than we were in COVID. And that's not the point that Jeff was making. The point that Jeff was making is in the 4 years that Trump was in office, how was the country functioning? What state was the country in? How many wars were we involved in? What was, inflation looking like? What was the price of groceries? What was the price of gas? Were there, just, and one guy in here lists like 20 things that happened in those 4 years that Trump was in office, and challenged anyone, to contest what he put down there. But the point is not, yes, COVID was horrible. COVID was horrible no matter what, and it tore up the economy and it hurt a lot of things.
Yeah.
But that's not the point that he's making. The point that he's making is that those 4 years before COVID happened, America was in a amazing financial position. Was there division? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to avoid that division. What did he stop on one specific?
Yeah, this was probably my favorite comment. It says, your comments are big flag with stupid written all over it.
Yeah.
Mr. Lambert, we appreciate you taking the time to comment on our podcast.
But I mean, look
and,
at
we're getting a flag made.
Yeah, we
Yes,
will.
we are.
But I mean, look at the I mean, orange turd. Shut up.
We got called all sorts of good names in this one. Effing morons,
Yeah,
bigots, racist.
And it's like they're bonehead. I guess that's what. Here's the list.
Bonehead.
So click on it, and I mean, he goes through a list of things. It says 4 years, 2017 to 20 under Trump. Number one, economy, stock market, unprecedented record growth, record overall employment, record black employment, record Hispanic employment, record low poverty, near record female employment, plus or minus 3% interest rates, inflation 1%, 4 years of virtual world peace, Russia silenced, Ukraine safe, ISIS destroyed, Middle East peace, Abraham Accords, 5 Arab nations singing peace trade agreements with Israel, Iran neutralized, China was confronted, and obviously until the China virus release, rebuilt American military, exceptionalism and respect, North Korea silent, stopped Iran nuclear deal, illegal immigrants 300,000 a year versus 3 to 4 million this year.
That's nuts.
Built majority of the southern border wall, fought against the war against fossil fuels, $40 to $50 barrel oil, $1.90 to $2.40 for gas, energy independence. OPEC was just an insignificant 4-letter acronym. USMCA ended NAFTA. Right to try. This is a huge one. VA choice option and reform, allowing veterans to get local care versus having to drive 3 hours to the closest VA hospital just to get care. Confirmed 3 conservative judges versus AG Merrick Garland. Made it possible to repeal Roe versus Wade. Moved embassy to Jerusalem. where are we? Manufacturing jobs increase, save the domestic iron, steel, and aluminum industry, ended over 1,000 strangling regulations. And then he says it, before you dispute, be specific in your counter argument. Not one reply to that one.
Yeah, nobody replied to it.
Well, yeah, it's opinion doesn't hold up well against.
Well, I mean, he's coming with facts as opposed to rhetoric. You know, he's not spewing any hate in that. He's not calling anybody a name. You know, he's stating this is what happened over the 4 years. Take the person out of it and just look, you know, the policies that were in place, the growth in the economy, and everything that was going on, the lack of wars, you know, the leaders that he was able to silence, you know, that were doing horrific things throughout the world. Mm-hmm. There was no name calling. There was no you're an idiot. There was no,
unlike Joshua Lee's over here.
Oh yeah, that one's I do vacuum chamber. It's good for my skin.
Yeah.
I mean, one person even said that they're not going to listen to Jeff because he looks like he's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, what value does that, like?
I just,
You know, a long time ago, I remember Pastor Sean saying, you can't expect non-Christians to act like Christians.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
And once he gave me that perspective, I'm like, oh yeah, all these people that are spewing all this hate, they're not believers. They're just broken, hurt people who are lost in the world and
they only know how to respond one way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's it.
to that point, yes, they don't know truth. They don't, you know, they don't have that relationship with Jesus. But still, I've got friends of mine that are atheist, agnostic, that are good human beings and would not result to calling people names.
Absolutely.
Or flipping their lid because somebody has a different opinion than them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, yes, I would love everybody to know the truth. But you can still be a good human being, even if you're not a follower of Jesus. And, man, some of the people that came on here just...
I didn't expect that one to be our first viral clip, but hey, whatever gets people talking, right?
Well, it's silenced after the elections. I'm curious
got
where
real
all
quiet.
these people are that...
They got real quiet.
Packing their station wagon.
Well,
Yeah,
the good thing is
it was
truth was
pretty
coming out.
interesting.
He is dumb as he looks. Like, thanks. Like, if you're gonna add something, like add something constructive. Like, have a point. So
you can definitely tell in the comments which news channels some of these people watch because they're literally regurgitating the talking points from the CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox and CBS, ABC, all of them.
Yeah,
They're all owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. So they all have, and all their salaries are 75% paid by the pharmaceutical companies. That's all their advertising is. So they're towing the party line, the company line.
The thing, and I mean, this goes back to my original political view. You can scroll down through the comments. You can look at everything, whether it's an agreement or a disagreement. Nothing sounds constructive in any way.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of anger in there.
It's name calling. It's
brainwashed douchebag.
Yeah.
I like Heidi Rose just said, "Shut up." Thanks, Heidi. We'll be shutting up now.
Yeah.
Trump virus stooge.
I saw that.
And then some of these had 30, 40, 80 replies on one of them. They really went after Bill at the very top here.
Oh yeah. Old Bill.
Bill's got 82 replies. So people were coming
Which,
down on Bill.
I mean, sometimes those aren't any better.
No.
Not that
Yeah.
I mean, the hate gets it. I mean, it gets
Goes
spewed on both
ways.
sides.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah,
both ways.
I
And
mean, there's no doubt about it.
Well,
and I
that's
get
what I'm saying.
people
The,
are just venting, you know.
it's the idea that you can call the people in charge divisive and creating division or whatever, and the commentary doesn't change the narrative. There's no let's come together for and try and honestly just make where we live a great place to live. And I'm not trying to go with the "Make America Great" because I think it's a corny catchphrase anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to be said about if you're just saying so and so's divisive, so and so's so in division, and I hate them, and they suck, and they're stupid, and anybody that believes what they say
Yeah, they're
sucks and is stupid.
talking out of
and-
both sides
yeah.
of their mouth.
Yeah, and it's like you're literally doing the exact
Yeah.
thing
Absolutely,
that
exactly.
you're griping about.
There's not anybody in these comments that are being nice to each other
Well, no, of course not.
on either side.
Now,
either
granted,
side.
I don't live in a polka dot, My Little Pony fantasy world where everybody's going to be nice and get along.
Right.
Because there's something to be said about what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong?
Right.
I've been believing this nonsense
Mhm.
for how long? I've bought into this. I've tried to sway arguments this way. What if I am wrong? Well, I can't be wrong. I got to be right. I know what I believe, and what I believe is absolutely right. And so then you defend it in a pride type ideal. No, I have to be right.
Well, I mean, after the election, I think the people have spoken. I mean, if you look at the swing in votes that went for Biden the first time, that now swung back over to Trump, maybe not back over, but to Trump.
Yeah.
People realize I was wrong.
Can you put
you
that
know?
map up one more time?
Mm-hmm.
You still got that? Got that somewhere?
But I think people do realize maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is going in a direction that I'm not happy with or that I know is not right. I mean, you've got people from like the true Kennedy era Democratic Party that are like, whoa,
Yeah.
like this is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things that y'all are saying we should allow and that we should be able to do it's
Right.
ridiculous. And I think that it's starting to click and they're starting to see this because it's this wokeness is getting pushed on everyone.
Yeah.
And I think people are
And only the people
clearly
in blue want
people
it.
are tired of it.
The map just blows me away.
That's
It's just
incredible.
like,
Yeah.
and not because it's like just that with all of the commentary, this is the outcome at the end. This is what it looks at the end. This is where the people who decided to use their right to vote and decided to make a difference in their world, be a part of making a difference in their world. This is where it ended up. And it's like, my goodness, okay.
That's a statement.
So that being said, it's like, okay, so where do we go now? How do we bridge the gap between the red and blue? How do we navigate moving forward without the you suck, you loser? Obviously America hates what you think anyway, because look at everything there. It's like that's not productive. All that does is perpetuate the division.
I mean, look at the Texas border. Look at the counties that border Mexico and Texas. 3 of them voted for Harris. That's it. And one of them, only a corner touches that. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that people are fed up with open borders and 3 to 4 million coming across, they were flying people in.
Yeah.
Like they had an app and they were
That's
literally
crazy.
flying people in, and they were flying them in across the border to swing states.
Yes.
Like,
So let's talk about that, John, because it's
that they
easy.
didn't win anyway.
It's
Yeah.
easy to talk about somebody else's problem when you're not experiencing that. You know, hey, why don't you guys do all these things, right? House them, take care of them. But when it's now in your front yard, it's a different view.
yeah, 100%.
They understand more so what, the people who have been going through it, what they're experiencing.
I mean, I saw that firsthand just
Sure.
working in downtown Austin and having to deal with the business owners when the camping ban was pulled. So homeless people were allowed to literally camp on the sidewalks wherever they wanted. It was a tent city down there.
Yeah.
And now business owners downtown that were typically, we need to take care of this, we need to do that, give them this, were fed up and done because
It's in
now
your front door.
guess what it was affecting? It was affecting their dollar.
Their bottom line.
And I'll never forget, I had one lady that owned a business, and she called us over because she had a long-term issue with guys that were camped out in front of her business. She owned a jewelry shop. And in talking to her, like, she literally said, I used to be a liberal, but I'm done. She was like, this is affecting my family, my business, my money.
Right.
I get it. I'm done. And it does. It takes it being on your front doorstep
Yes.
and for it to affect you and your family, because it's easy to turn a blind eye to it.
It became real.
Look at the border. I mean,
Right.
the border counties.
That's
they're
a
fed
real
up.
good. Yeah. That picture there is
Oh, which one?
3, and then one of them, like you said, is just a corner of that.
right.
of that
I
county.
mean, barely even touching.
Yeah.
On
But
that-
still,
On the map.
On the map.
on the
yeah.
map.
And I mean, what did what did Abbott do? He started shipping them to
Yes.
Where did he ship 'em
Minnesota.
to?
shipping
Martha's
to-
Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard.
That's
That's,
what
where
it
it was.
Yes.
It was like,
That was
all
great.
right,
Here's your bus ticket.
yeah, here you go.
He
Deal
and
with
De-
them up
he and
there.
Ron
Let 'em in your
DeSantis
house.
both, I think, were doing
Yeah,
that.
DeSantis was
Yeah.
doing that. But I mean, yeah, and I think they even had a what was it? I was watching a little reel where these they're probably 20-year-old males. They were wearing Harris Poll shirts, and they were going up and knocking on doors with people that had Harris signs in their front yard. Is this it?
This is where
Yes.
the Nelk boys. Where
Yes.
Kyle Forgard was dropping people off, and she's like, "No, not in my house."
Understand what this is all about.
Immigration.
Here we go.
So you would do anything for like all the illegals and stuff?
be here.
Guys, this is great. I think we found a new home for you guys.
What guys?
There you go.
I
Yeah.
don't understand what this is all about.
Immigration. Thank you.
They are
Yeah.
not.
What do you mean? You just said you wanted to support everyone though.
Okay, I don't.
No, they're not
Guys, you
violent.
gotta
They're
do
not
this.
violent. They're good.
Oh no,
They're
hop it, like just like you guys did before.
Thank you very much.
Can they stay for dinner? Wait. Well, we have your signature. You guys gotta drive back down south.
Back to Home Depot.
That's crazy.
Man.
That's crazy.
That one got a lot of attention last week.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, it's
They're all for it till they're at their door, and
Well, and you've seen it being in the downtown area, right? I mean, just raw right there. It's easy for us to judge when we're looking at screens, TV, social media, whatever.
yeah.
But you guys are walking the beat, man, and in the face of people,
Mhm.
and they're people,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, and I think there's a way to go about it correctly. You know what I mean? As far as I don't blame people for wanting to be here. Like, I get it. America's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people want to be here. They're countries they come from or different things, they're corrupt and broken, and there's nothing. I get it. At the same time, there's a way and a process to go about it where it's not just wide open to
Terrorists,
come and
murderers,
and
rapists.
tear up everything that is in your path
Yeah.
and send whoever you want, especially these people that are looking to just be predators in whatever form or fashion.
Right.
And, you know, at some point, people in my family came here from somewhere.
What I find interesting is that you've got a group of people that talk about how horrible America is, and you know what a racist place it is, what a
Here on US soil.
misogynist place it is.
Yes.
But if that's true, and America is horrible, backwards, and it's doing all these horribly wrong things, why are so many people doing anything and everything that they can to come here? You know, it's the opposite logic that they're using, and they're
And I don't know why they don't just leave.
the people that hate America.
Yeah. You know why? Because talk like that in some other country and they'll string you up or lock you in
heartbeat.
some dank hole.
In a heartbeat.
But here you can say whatever you want, which is true, and gripe about whatever you want. Fine.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, you throw away every drop of blood spilt to keep this nation what it is
Yeah.
by just spouting all of that kind of stuff. And that's right. Those drops of blood paid for your ability to say those things,
Right.
but to what end, with no respect for anything that was done that gives us that freedom. And it's like it baffles my mind.
Well, and I think America also has a pretty good track record of realizing that when we're doing something wrong, correcting it. I mean, you can look through history and see all the changes that we've made when we've realized that, hey, that wasn't right. You know, slaves to women being able to vote to, there are multiple things throughout history that we self-correct. And man, there are a lot of countries that do, or the people don't have a say in correcting those things because the government
Right.
has too much power. And I think that's what we're
Yeah.
starting to look at now. The government is getting too much power, and they're making it hard to be able to correct those things. I mean, yes, we have the right to vote, but will it get to a point to where, yes, we have the right to vote, but who is it that puts the people that we get to vote for in front of us? Who makes that decision who those people are? You know, who's getting pushed up? You know, if we've got 4 people to pick out of, but the government is behind putting those 4 people in front of you, do you really have a say in what's going to happen?
It depends on what. Nah, never mind.
I'm praying that this next 4 years will start to make that swing back to us truly being a republic, us truly being a country where the citizens have say in how things are run.
Yeah. And that ice cream sandwiches are not $17 for 6 of them.
That's
That's
nice.
ridiculous.
Dude, I'm not kidding. Jen stopped at the store and she was like, I'm going to pick up some ice cream. And I was like, you know, today's a good day for ice cream. And she sent me
Every
a
day's
picture
good
and
day
there's
for
no ice cream. And she's like, all they have is these ice cream sandwiches. I'm like, grab the ice cream sandwiches. And she came out and I'm like, where are the ice cream sandwiches? She said, honey, it was $17
Wow.
for 6 ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, my word.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Like $3 a piece.
what?
Pretty much.
You got to be kidding me. No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks. So I didn't have ice cream sandwich.
Well, keep praying. Let's pray that these next 4 years are positive and that we move in the right direction and that we do correct the wrong direction that we were going and that we get back on track to being what we should be, what America was made to be. You know.
Yeah.
I think, I absolutely agree. And it's going to take absolutely a lot of prayer. And then to me, it's always the eyes off of me and on the us. You know what I mean? The what's best for me is good to a point as far as self-preservation and that kind of thing. But past that is the us.
Yeah.
The we, the people.
Right.
We the people.
Not me the people.
Yeah.
Not we the party.
You're taking out the I statement is what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a we
Yeah.
thing. And I always worry that, the party system by design creates division. And I can never shake that a house divided cannot stand.
Right.
And the more we fuel division, it's like we're pedal to the metal to our own destruction, because that is the outcome. That's the only outcome in division.
Well, so there was an analogy that I heard that I thought was perfect. They have a jar that's full of red ants and black ants. And the red ants and the black ants are sitting in there, nothing's going on with them. And then someone walks up, picks up the jar, and shakes the heck out of that jar. And what happens? The red ants and the black ants start fighting with each other. Neither one of them were the ones that shook that jar. It was the person on the outside that caused those two to start attacking each other. They didn't attack the person on the outside, and I think we're getting to the point where that's our government that's shaking that jar. And these people that align themselves conservative and liberal, Democrat, Republican, are the red and black ants that are in that jar, and we are attacking each other because of the government that's irritating us, that's shaking us. And we don't even realize it, and we're beating each other up whenever it's not each other that we need to be going at. Because as far as I'm concerned, like, yes, it's a two-party system, but it's two wings on the same bird. Like, their vested interest,
Like an eagle.
their vested interest is what's good for both of them. Like, we'll take a little hit here and give you the benefit there, but whenever it comes back around, you take the hit and let us get the benefit. And it's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand, and hopefully we can come together. We can be united.
It's only
and start seeing
happening.
that.
It's only happening online.
Wow.
You don't see any of this stuff happening face to face with people.
Well, no.
Nobody's fighting in the street. Nobody's
We're-
going over to their neighbor's house and duking it out because they voted for the other person.
We're in the age
Not
of
not
the
really. I
keyboard
mean, you might be in some
warrior.
parts of town, but most people are not like that.
Yeah.
But online,
Yeah.
all of them are like that. Most of them.
And I mean, even if you look at like the
nuts.
No, I
the
know.
mostly peaceful protests,
Yeah.
they're organized, they're set up.
Right.
People are, because we've dealt with them here in
That's
Austin,
mob
and
mentality there.
well, the sad thing is that the people that we have arrested, half of them aren't even from Texas. They're surely not from Austin, and they all have the same lawyer.
Interesting.
Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, they're
Is
sending.
that lawyer
it's
funded
because
by George
you are
Soros?
paid to come down here. Y'all all have the same agenda.
Create
You all have the
chaos.
same rhetoric. You all have the same sayings, and
Yep.
and then you started seeing it throughout the nation. So why are the same people in Austin saying the same thing that the people in Seattle are saying, and in Portland, and in L.A. and in New York? Like, it's
$15 an hour plus meals,
it-
travel.
Yeah, it is. And here's your lawyer, so whenever you get
Right.
arrested, give them a call. We'll take care of you. And then whenever you have the
How
DAs
many days
that are
do you work doing this?
However many you want, probably.
Sweet.
well, I mean, the one good thing
Unless
is
there's no writing.
$15 an hour. I figure if I'm locked up for
Free
like
food.
2 weeks, 3 squares.
Oh, they're not locked up for 2
Living
weeks
life,
because
living
you've
life.
got, county attorneys and district attorneys that are in place that are basically taking that
You got Kamala
affidavit
Harris bailing them
and
out.
throwing it right into the trash and saying no grounds, no probable cause found,
Yeah.
Turn them out.
and let them
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
So
Back on the job.
they are
Right back.
right back on the job.
Let's
probably
go to another
unionized.
town.
Yeah, probably. They got health care
Yeah,
and
it's a mafia-run riot.
I wonder
riot
what kind
crew.
of retirement benefits. I'm gonna have to look into this job.
But to your point, like normal citizens, you're right. Unless they're on the internet, that viral clip is
It's
a perfect
easier
example of it.
to do it on social
It is
media.
because you don't have to
though.
look somebody in the eye, and
Right.
there's no fear of
Get punched
any
in the mouth.
any repercussion.
Right. Right.
So it's definitely different. I mean, the internet is quite interesting, but I mean that
I wish you had to wear all of your comments on a T-shirt, everything. It just went on a T-shirt. You had to wear that sucker around. All of your nonsense, left, right, middle, whatever. All of your comments went on a T-shirt. You had to wear every day, and it's like, oh, you think that?
You're pretty boisterous.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, basically, on the internet, on Facebook, it's a public post. It's basically wearing it. You got your name attached to it.
Yeah. I mean, but what?
But nobody
again,
else sees it.
There's no
Their
consequence.
friends and family don't see it, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not just
The
talking
coworkers
about
don't
like
see it.
violence or anything like that, but there's no
Right.
consequence. And you're right. You have a right to say whatever you want, even if it's stupid.
yeah. I mean,
And somebody may comment that comment was stupid.
And we're getting a flag for it.
And
well,
there
and
you
online you run into the situation too of the bots that are inciting
Right.
these comments and these situations that are causing that are basically the one shaking that jar.
Right.
Good analogy, by the way.
I mean, it fits
Yeah.
perfect. But yeah, and I mean, it's and we've seen an attack lately on freedom of speech, and the party that used to be all about freedom of speech is now trying to censor
It's wild,
and
man.
control
It's a wild social experiment.
what
that
speech
happened.
is, and it's I don't know, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's all coming unraveled, though, and I love it.
No, you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't make it right.
Yep. It doesn't make
I
it
mean,
true.
and that goes
Doesn't make
for
it true.
everybody.
But it comes down to like we need to be able to offend each other. Like if
I'm
I
offended.
disagree with you or if you're doing something wrong, it's my job as your brother to come to you and say, "Man, Kirk, look, the way you said something to T, and that ain't right. You're better than that." I am taking the risk that that's going to offend you, but I'm willing to offend you to try and make you a better person.
But here's the difference, though. I think too many people are so hurt by these comments
Yeah.
that they turn everything against that one person.
Yeah.
Now, in true brotherhood, especially in Christ, we're taught to self-reflect and say, hey, there must be something to what John just said to me. Otherwise, he wouldn't come to me and say that. And it's up to me to be respectful enough, number one, to self-reflect and say, you know what? I am a knucklehead. I did say some stupid things. And then it's up to me again to come back to you and go, hey, man, you know what? As much as that hurt my feelings, truth is truth.
Right.
And I'm thankful that you did that because you just gut checked me.
Yeah.
And that's what a true brother does.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's too many people nowadays that are just so offended by the smallest thing. You know,
But if you take away that opportunity to offend people, and it doesn't always have to end.
That's the difference.
In fighting, it doesn't have to end in. But if you take away that opportunity to offend each other, then you're never going to have your view challenged. You're never going to go home and go, man, why do they view things that way, and why are they so passionate about it? Maybe I should look into it. And it gives you an opportunity to self-reflect and to dig deep. And why do I feel that way? Why do I believe that? Am I just going off of what I'm hearing on the news or from the media? Like, is this like? Let me do some research. And without that and it goes both ways. Without that conversation, and you start censoring and, yeah, it just
we
makes
can disagree,
Right.
and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
actually healthy.
Yeah.
Because then I get
disagree.
a chance to then I get a chance to see the view that your perspective.
Right.
If I'm closed-minded and I don't think of it my way, then when you say something and I'm taking it in such a way that, man, he offended me, I'm gonna cut him off. I'm gonna do all these things. Like, stop. Get out of your own head. Just allow it.
Yeah.
That's what brothers are supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it goes back to it. It's a lot easier pill to swallow if truth and love are working together.
Right.
Because there are those people who just want to tell you whatever they think, because it may be truth. But when there's without the love side,
Yeah.
then it just becomes an exercise in offending people.
Yeah.
Right? And it may be absolutely right, it may be absolutely true, but I think the responsibility even in that, man, I see something, right? Or I feel like, man, something's off. Something's not right.
Yeah.
And then to me there becomes okay, like you were talking about sticks and planks and all of those forests and trees and bears, like, okay, where am I at? Am I offended by their action because of me, because of my perspective, because of where I'm at, because of circumstances that happen to me? Is it me, or is it truth in and of itself that the activity, language, blah, 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 whatever, doesn't line up with the Word of God? And that's the path we should be walking, right?
Should.
And so, especially confronting somebody on something like that, which I'm saying, I mean, I don't shy away from confrontation normally, but it's like there's always a moment of, okay, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Is it coming from offense? Am I offended because I just don't agree with whatever you say? And so now I'm going to find some way to, well, the Bible says blah, 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 just to kind of kick you in the crotch with it. And it's like, there's no love in that.
Right.
And it's something that's broken in me that's fueling a response, whether true or not.
Yeah.
So
We've become a society, though, that I feel that there's so many people looking for an offense to hang their hat
for
on
sure.
it, and just
for sure.
like,
I used to tell people all the time, you want to get offended, go to church.
That's true.
If you want to be offended, go to church. Why? Because it's going to push, it should push the boundaries
Yep.
of where your comfort zone is, what you believe is true and accurate and acceptable. Because as we grow, there is a constant filtering of yesterday this was okay, today it's not.
Right.
And it's that growth in relationship. It's having brothers around you that will speak truth in love. But it's like, to me, those are the same guys, dude, when I am broken, when I am down, when I am like, it like all hell has broken loose in my life. Those are the guys that I'm going to lean on.
Right.
exactly.
Those are the guys that I know truly not only stand with me, they'll stand for me when I can't stand. And when I'm back up and in fighting strength and everything is kind of recharging, then I'm going to have to stand for somebody else.
That's right.
And that's the way it's supposed to work. But it's born out of love first.
for sure.
You know what I mean? And the battles that we go through build that kind of foxhole mentality. And I'm going to give a shout out. If you're watching this right now, I'm going to call you here right after we're done. My cousin, Jeremy, his mom is in the hospital, so my aunt, and they found several cancerous tumors and just kind of all over. And there was a operation to remove one in brain area around there, and it was golf ball size, and they found 20 grape size and smaller still in the area. And he said it. I talked to him the other day, and we don't get to talk that often, but he's like, dude, I never miss a podcast. And it kind of blew me away. I'm like, really?
That's awesome.
And so, man, if you're watching, you
Shout out to your brother.
know that we're praying for you.
Yeah.
Brothers, people, man, there's a whole church praying for you and your mom and your family, and which I'm in, so it kind of sounds self-serving, but we're praying for us. So I'm gonna call you here in a bit. But yeah, it's
Love that,
just,
bro. Good shout out, man.
perspective is something crazy,
Mm-hmm.
where we're at and how we see things. And
you brought up a good point there a minute ago with the Paul and Timothy model of, when you need a friend and a brother, there's somebody there to help lift you up, and when it's somebody else's turn that needs a lift up, you're there for them.
no,
kind of
for
thing.
sure.
I love what you said too, man, because think about how many times we were lifted up by that brother.
Yeah.
It's time for us to stand firm and do the same.
And we're all a Paul and a Timothy at some point.
Yes. And that's
Multiple
the goal.
times throughout our lives.
And that's the goal too. Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
That we're supposed to live a life of service. We're supposed to help others. So.
Yeah. For sure.
But, and I, just kind of, I love the idea of we are a collective
Yes.
made of individuals,
Yes.
right? Not in that communist mentality of, give me all your stuff, but it's like there is a me. There's a God that died for me.
Yeah.
If I was the only person on the planet, the result would have been the same. The price paid
Right.
would have still been the same.
Yeah.
But there's billions and billions of people that will walk this planet that the same price was paid for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Bible talks about that his desire is that no one,
Yes.
not one person, would perish, would miss it, would not receive that gift that was given, and so that means that for us being believers, being Christ followers, that, man, our responsibility
Yeah.
to be who we're supposed to be so huge,
The harvest is plenty. The hands are few. That's why we say
Yep.
we got to step up. And here's the thing too. We're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nah.
And if we're not moving his kingdom forward, then what are we doing? We're moving our own kingdom forward.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a lowercase k.
Right.
And a lot of times, for whatever reason, we like to build on sand.
That's the truth.
It just won't hold up.
That and it's irritating.
Wow.
Gets in your butt crack.
I talk to people that are up here and, having lived close and on the coast and stuff. I mean, the beach was right there. We went to the beach. And it's like, man, I don't like the beach. And they're like, oh, I just want to go to the beach. I just want to go to the beach.
It's fine if it's just in your toes.
Nah, I'll go to Lowe's and just rub sand in my nether regions and be uncomfortable all day. And it's kind of the same thing.
That's
Go play volleyball and
because
stuff.
you're talking about Texas beaches. Those are
Kind
not
of the same
beaches.
thing.
That's true.
It is a beach.
It's
It's
like
not
playing
pretty.
in gravel,
No,
Yeah, it's not pretty.
It's very close to beach, but it's not.
tar gravel.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all.
Oh,
And I've been to a couple
the fishing is
pretty,
good.
pretty beaches.
The
Yeah,
fishing is great, but
He
I
wouldn't
mean,
know. That requires multiple casting.
Oh yeah, especially fly fishing.
well, yeah, that you
too
don't
much
do at the
casting.
beach.
Yeah,
There's HEB has a fish market. It's already right there and caught for you.
It does. I'm going to paddle my canoe over there and go pick some up.
so we're gonna move on to the new topic of laziness.
Yeah, that's
Sloth. Isn't that a sin? Deadly
Yeah.
sin? Sloth.
Yes.
slothfulness.
Slothfulness.
Yes,
It's a mouthful.
moving slow. I just don't want to paddle. It doesn't sound fun.
Want to respond to any comments real quick on the
Nah.
Facebook post?
I don't think most of them.
There-
Listen.
There are many
Thank you
proverbs
all.
written about
Yeah.
not responding to fools. So
Very good.
Thank
That's
you
a good
all
response.
for taking the time to comment on our page. You have fueled a viral short for us, and we appreciate it, even if the comments, some of them were dumb.
We still love you.
it was
There you go.
entertaining. I mean, I'll give it
Was
that.
Oh yeah, I laughed a lot. I just couldn't stop reading because I thought it was funny. And then, like I said, the back and forth nonsense, I just kind of scrolled past those. I looked for the juicy ones.
Yeah.
Like,
The ones that we could give Jeff a hard time about.
waving a flag is stupid. I'm like, yes. So great.
So are y'all all going to Brotherhood?
Yes.
Everybody going?
Yeah.
Kirk, you
Yeah.
too?
Actually, I'm not going, unfortunately.
Really? I'll take your place.
There you go.
He may not be
I was
going,
going
but he's
anyway.
been a key part in the planning and the organization of it. So.
And inviting people.
Yeah.
I need to start helping with that.
T's best friend from Connecticut. She's coming down with her husband, and we're going to a game over at College Station
Oh, cool.
that day. But that was the only weekend that they
Yeah.
could do it.
That's a good reason.
And I looked at it, man. I'm like, gosh, man, I don't want to miss it. But
Yeah.
again, as John said, still very involved in it and recruiting and just trying to get guys to go. Shout out to Brotherhood, which is Saturday. Actually, it's a week
16th,
from
right?
this Saturday.
November
Yep,
16th.
November 16th.
If you're in the area, verticalchapel.com, go under events, Power of Story. It's a Brotherhood conference for men.
Yes.
You can register on there. We'd love to have you. If we don't know you, come find us. Find Kirk first.
Mm-hmm.
I'll greet you.
And
Start in College Station.
Yeah. And wear your shirt that has all your comments on it. But now we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And,
But it is. I mean,
be a
you're,
part of it.
if you can make it, make it. I mean, it's a full day event from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We've got food, we've got sugary treats, and we've got great speakers and
Yes.
a lot of activities to, enjoy yourself on the down times. So
And
Yeah,
then the
it
meet-
truly is a one-day conference. It's going to be
And then the meat and the
Life-changing.
potatoes of it is the fellowship and just being able to see men being vulnerable and
Right.
worshiping God and speaking as brothers and making connections to be able to say, hey, man, you and I have a lot in common.
yeah,
I'd really like to, continue
absolutely.
and talk or get together, whatever. And just guys helping each other, the collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're growing
time.
the collective because
It's
that's
a
how we gotta do it.
brotherhood.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, which is comfortable.
You're my boy. You're my friend. You're my boyfriend.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. It's brotherhood.
Oh.
That's going to leave a mark.
Check back on the comments.
Yeah, we'll see.
See how that one goes.
I wasn't quite feeling myself.
We don't always behave around here.
You're not going to eat that? You're just going to touch it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not mine. I just wanted to handle it.
Wow.
On that note, hey, listen, we loved having you and tuning in with us. Man, if there's anything, obviously those comments are not just for, they're for whatever you want. But listen, we'd love to pray for you if you got something going on in your life,
Yeah.
if you got questions, if you got comments, and put them in there. Obviously, we read them, we look at them, we go through these things, and some comments may be funny, but especially if you got something that we can pray for you for, we would love to do it. And maybe that's the beginning of, if you got a prayer request, you got something going on, we definitely will throw a shout out and mention you by name and get people praying
Sure,
by
yeah.
name for you
Yeah.
and whatever you got going on. We love that you took the time to sit in with us. For myself, Johnny Law, Kirk, and the Podfather himself,
I love that.
we'll see you next
It's already
time.
taken.
I was going to say.
Ah.
It's like Adam Curry was the
Yeah.
original Podfather, and then I think Adam Carolla at one point was.
Well,
called,
you can be the Podfather 3.
I think
That's
I'd be the
right.
third. Maybe.
There you go.
I mean,
Well, there were. It was a 3
Yeah,
trilogy.
Yes.
yeah,
I
that's
was
what I'm
just
saying.
about to say.
That's what I
That's
say.
right.
You could be Podfather 3.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Podfather
Yeah.
3.
that's right.
Now
Thanks
I
for
need
the
a
invite,
new logo
boys.
for that.
Oh, dude,
We
you're
can put it
welcome.
on a T-shirt. Podfather 3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I put my face in place of Marlon Brando.
Yeah, with stupid on the back.
Oh, look, I forgot about this. Look at these.